Okay, another little video analysis. This time we're doing some winging, and so I literally just landed my first few jibes, and I'm just starting to get more and more comfortable with jibing on one side, or one stance, I should say. In my regular stance with my left foot forward, I feel way more comfortable than the other side. I have just about got round on the other side with my right foot forward, but then I always drop down. But anyway, that would be for another video when I can do a few more. I'll keep filming and then I can do sort of both sides. But what I wanted to say in this video is kind of just break down some of the breakthroughs that I've had for the wing foiling jibe, and we're going to start with I guess regular toe side jibe. I think that's what it's called. Okay, let me mute this. Okay, very quickly, just before I go into it, the kit that I'm using a 4-0 wing. I was a little bit underpowered in this session. This session actually wasn't one of my better ones, but it's the only one that I've got a clip of at the moment. On a 115 board and a 1500 foil, and that's the first time I was using the 1500 foil this season, so it was a sort of like upgrading gear. There's a few reasons why I'm going to start to use the 1500 over the 1750, but I've been getting some nice jibes on the 1750. It's much more stable, but it's a bit slower, yada yada yada. I'll get into another video as well, but what I really want to focus on is just like the technique of the jibe. So one of my biggest struggles was like getting to like this point and then basically losing speed and just being just a bit uncomfortable, dropping off the foil. And something that I found really helpful for this was doing like big S turns. So I go up really, really high upwind, and then I would go really, really far downwind as much as I could. And then I would come back like upwind instead of trying to do like the whole turn. And what that really helped with was like understand like the power in the wing at different points of sail. So when you're really high upwind, how it feels, and then when you're going really far downwind, how does that feel, and how can you keep going at the same speed? Because that's like the main goal, is to keep the speed the whole way through and just keep as much speed as you can. And it's actually quite easy to do that with a relatively a relatively big foil. You can stay up on the foil and it's kind of easy to keep the speed. But the other thing is like keeping like a constant pressure on your toes. As soon as I put any heel pressure on, then that's when things would really start to go wrong. So it's mostly about the board, mostly about the balance on the board, and your speed. So doing those S turns was a really good exercise for me to do on both sides, just to understand the difference in the power in the wing. Let me play it through so you can just see like what I ended up doing on this one. You can see I'm trying to keep that constant carve on my toes, but the more and more I do it, the more and more comfortable I'm getting. So speed is a big thing. The S turns is a good way to practice. What else? Like looking to the inside of the turn, you can kind of see that a little bit, I don't know, do I? Yeah, I start to like look, see with my eyes here, I'm like looking to the inside of the turn. That just helps with like the balance and keeping the carve constant. One little tip that Slice gave me was to basically pick up as much speed as you can, and as soon as you basically start rolling into the jibe, you can let go of your backhand, and basically you just sort of like ditch the power in the wing and you just kind of surf around the rest of the jibe. Which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I started doing that and it definitely helped me. But as long as you're like comfortable with going for the speed, like I was finding before that, like getting around my first few ones when I was not as comfortable with like going super fast, that I was using the power in the wing. Like once I got to this stage, actually I would keep my hands as they were, use the power in the wing just to keep me going forward a little bit. But then as soon as the wing, like it's weird, like at some point through the jibe, the wing goes like a little bit light, and that's the moment that I usually let go of the backhand. And it's kind of just a feeling, like you've got to just go through the gybe, and as soon as it goes light, then you just dump with the backhand, and then just keep that constant carve of the foil going like all the way around. But then yeah, it's just a numbers game really. Just keep practicing that, and eventually you kind of get around your first one, and then you end up in the switch stance position. And for me, this switch stance position is fairly easy because I'm used to it from windsurfing, because I can go switch on this side. But if you're not familiar with switch, I would really recommend trying to stay, even if you drop off the foil, trying to stay in switch for as long as you can before you crash. Like I had a few where I'd get all the way around, I'd drop off the foil, be in switch, hold the switch for a little bit, and then fall off. But you're really just trying to build that muscle memory of being in switch stance. One little thing I also thought about was like practicing being in switch stance on like a windsurf board or a SUP or something, just to get the feeling of like how the wing feels in switch stance. I didn't actually do that, but I thought that might be like a nice little exercise if you're struggling with this part of the gybe. But also just using like, up to this point I've been using a 1750 front wing, and that's just been so stable that you can go so slowly and stay on the foil. It really helps. But then yeah, I'm just in switch stance, and you basically just got to keep a little bit of pressure on your toes, and try and look upwind where you're going. It feels like you're a little bit twisted, but it's actually easier than being windsurfing switch stance, because you're still kind of over the board, and it's not as hard, but you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. Is there anything else that I wanted to say about this? Yeah, I think I pretty much covered all the things that were like, oh, this is a big one. Okay, look at my front hand. You might be able to just see it. It's an under grip. I wasn't doing this before. I was going like over grip, and every time I'd try and flip the wing, it felt really uncomfortable to change my hands around. So before I go for the gybe, I actually start with an under grip, and then when the wing rotates, you're going from under grip to it's rotating into an over grip, which makes it much easier to change your hands, makes it easier to control the wing. For me, that really helped. So that could help some of you. Let's see, anything else? And then really just moving the wing. I didn't really focus on this too much. I don't know if it was just my like instinct or sort of intuition to do this, but moving the wing sort of above your head and then like to the inside of the turn, because if you move your hand to the outside of the turn, you're going to get pulled off to the outside, and you want to keep everything like carving to the inside of the turn to help you stay balanced. But I wasn't really thinking and focusing on that so much. I'm just noticing that now, and but that is a tip that I hear people talk about. It's like throwing or moving the wing to the inside of the turn. And yeah, this is just switch stance for a while, and once you do like one long run in switch stance, you'll get really comfortable with it. So it's not actually that hard. It's just about practicing being in switch stance on the foil. And yeah, so at some point I'm going to come back the other way as well. So now I'm in switch stance in regular with my left foot forward and my right foot back. And so I'm already kind of like pre-twisted in this switch stance, right? And it makes it really easy to just roll back into the regular stance onto the other side, and go in the other way. So you can see here that I'm basically twisted, and then I just start carving turning the foil, so I'm going further downwind, letting go of the backhand, and then you're like twisting into, or like you're just untwisting, I guess. If you're already pre-twisted in switch, then you're just untwisting yourself, and it feels very nice, very natural. So actually jibing this way, I think, is just like way easier. But obviously to get to that point, you need to be able to jibe like on the other side. So, but like literally the first time that I completed my first jibe on this side, like the first time I did this, where I went around this side, literally the first time I then tried on the other side, I literally got round. So like it took me I don't know, like anywhere between 20 and 30 attempts to get the first normal gybe, and then it was like 1 or 2 to get this gybe coming back. So I guess this is a heel side, like a switch stance heel side gybe. I don't know what the exact names are yet, but yeah, that one is much easier to do. And you can see there, very happy with that one. But yeah, so starting to get the hang of jibes. If you are working on jibes or you're trying to work towards your wing foiling jibe, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're struggling with. Hopefully I can help you out, because this is very fresh right now. I've literally like gone through all the like sort of common mistakes, and I'm very much in it right now. So if you have any comments, or if you can already do it as well, leave some advice in the comment section as well. But if you have any questions, queries, whatever, leave them in the comments, and I will try my best to respond. I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else that I wanted to say? Let's see. Just trying to give you as much information as I can. I guess one last little thing is just to try and keep the board flat. Keep your like front foot pressure is like a big one in wing foiling in general. Just like keeping all the weight on or as much weight as you can on the front foot, because with the bigger foils as well, they're like lifting up the nose the whole time, so you're constantly like driving down on the front foot. And I found it especially like this exit of the jibe, like at this point, that the nose would start to come up as I would lose power, and you naturally instinctively want to put like more pressure on the back foot, but you got to try and counter that by getting all your weight forward. And that's also helped with like a little bit more speed. It makes it easier to get your weight forward as well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully I've covered everything there, and I'll try and do some more of these in the future as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. Leave any comments, queries, questions, whatever in the comment section below. Cheers guys.